Hawk raced across the broad antechamber just outside the governor's main receiving hall. Marble columns towered overhead, beneath a high, ornately carved, arching ceiling, all of cream and gold. Centuries of history looked down upon him as he traversed the chamber. Vulnerable as he was, exposed like this, he just hoped that was all that was looking down on him at the moment. The two huge golden doors sealing off the main hall were unguarded. Hawk found this to be the most troubling development yet. Guards should be manning that post at all hours of the day and night. He walked up to the doors, then paused, and looked around again. A cry sounded from the distance, somewhere behind him, causing him to whirl about. A woman was racing his way down one of the long side corridors. She wore the white jumpsuit uniform of a member of the palace staff, probably a maid or kitchen worker. As she stumbled up to Hawk, he reached out and grasped her by the arms. He saw then that they were bloody, as from dozens or hundreds of cuts that covered them. Her eyes, when they flashed his way, were bloodshot and wild. "What's the matter?" he demanded. "What's happened to you? What's going on here?" She gaped at him, as if he were the devil himself, recoiled backwards, and tried to pull away. "It's okay," he almost shouted at her as she fought him. "I'm a hand of the machine. See?" Mentally, he triggered the transformation of his uniform from its stealth black and gray to its standard metallic blue and red. The only effect was that she shrieked again, even louder, and tore herself free. Spinning about, she dashed away in the direction of the main entrance. Hawk watched her go. He could think of no good reason to try to restrain her, to tackle her, and clearly, that's what it would have taken to stop her mad flight. The woman had been hysterical, verging on insane. That much had been quite clear. And something here, some unknown force acting in this palace, had caused that, he knew. Turning back in the direction he had been moving, he reached up and pushed at the partially open double doors. Cunningly balanced, they swung easily open. The huge hall lay before him. He walked inside. The room was shaped like the nave of an old earth cathedral, and at least as huge. At least 50 yards wide, and twice that long. Brightly colored banners and tapestries covered the walls. The arched ceiling soared far overhead. Hawk strode down the center aisle, his boots making an unexpected crackling sound on the cream-colored marble tile. Puzzled, he gazed at the floor, wondering what he was stepping on. Then, frowning, he pulled the glove from his right hand and bent down. His fingertips brushed the cold surface. Ice. The tile was covered over by a thin layer of ice. He realized then that the temperature in the hall had dropped noticeably, even in the short time since he had entered. His uniform was easily compensating, warming him. But the trend was continuing. The air was becoming frosty as he breathed. Standing, he gazed toward the far end of the room. And there, he could make out various multicolored shapes lying on the floor, all around the raised dais that held the planetary governor's seat. His eye implants adjusted quickly, zooming in, and revealed to him that the shapes were actually people. Men and women, lying motionless on the cold floor. Were they all dead? Could that be? And why? He sprinted the remaining distance, and then stared about in horror. "Eagle! Falcon!" he sent mentally over his Aetherlink, even as his eyes swept the horrific scene before him. "Do you read?" No response. "Hawk, to the Talon!" he repeated, more insistently. "Eagle! Falcon! Please reply!" Nothing.